Hello everyone, I am back with another how to draw tutorial. But today's video, I'm gonna show you guys how to draw a female. Well, mostly how I draw females at least. You can take the advice however you want. But what you want to start off is with the circle. I'm gonna adjust my camera thing real quick. Then we do the line thing. If you haven't watched the previous video, which is my first video on here, then I don't know what you're doing. But you just start with the line, a very long line. Apparently, it's focusing on my hand. But you do the second line, the horizontal line, in the middle of the head. Because this is gonna be the head. If you can already tell, because you know you've been doing this as well, but hey, you like it. And then you do the jaw. To do the female jaw, they're more softer and a little bit more rounder. And no sharp edges, so you kind of oval it a bit. Or curve it, whatever you want to say. And then you just kind of want to dome the head so you can understand where the hair goes. And then, this is one of the different parts of how to do it. How to draw the female body. That instead of doing like a more wider, like, box or whatever the frick you call the shape, you go a little bit thinner and a little bit, like, smaller. Which I'm doing it wrong. Because, of course, I do. You just basically do exactly this way, but it's going to be a bit smaller, in a way. Because the female anatomy is somehow, like, the upper part is a little bit smaller instead of the usual male, which is more wider. So go with a little bit thinner, but not too thin for it to be weird. And kind of oval it a bit. As you see here. If you do not like my commentary on how I'm doing this, just mute it. Or just like turn on the thing. And then you just do the little line thing that you also did with the head. I do the shoulders next. Because the shoulder is very important if you want to do arms. Yeah, arms. And then you do the stomach. Which will be a little bit more like, I don't know, it's supposed to be like a little bit shorter. Because once I do the side profiles, you'll understand why. And with the females, on how I mostly draw them, wide hips. So I just do, instead of a little triangle-like piece, I do a little like boxy like square. And I also wind out the little hip pieces. And what I do differently than I do the males is that I circle them. I circle the hips so I can know how big to make them. The thick thighs save lives. But for now, just follow my lead. I curve out the line so you can get the curvature of once you do the side profile that I'm gonna do. You do a circle right there, the little bottom, because those will be where the knees goes. Yep, just put it a little bit down. And then I do another curve right there because that'll be where the calf would be once I actually do the side profile or whatever. And now I do the shoulders. Can it stop focusing on my goddamn hands? Then I just do the shoulders just like how I did with the male. Basically, the same concepts on how to do the shoulders, the stomach. Well, not really the stomach. Well, mainly the arms and shoulders, and maybe the head is almost the same. But the difference between the male on how I draw males and female is how I build them, which will mainly be the chest, the hips, the thighs, of course, and the stomach. As you see here, I just kind of do that. But and also another difference, I do that little, like, I don't know how to explain it, but you understand what I mean. Thinner neck, because apparently they always have thinner necks. But the difference with another difference of how I do it is that the little shoulder pieces, I don't really know what that muscle is. Instead of doing like a little U, instead of doing like a little hump, I do like a little under, like a little U, like a slope or whatever you want to call it. Then out the little arms. Basically everything is the same except for like maybe the chest, the hips, the neck, the shoulder, whatever the freak you want to call them. And that's literally about it. You just kind of want to thin them out. Okay, now the thigh part. If you want to get like maybe a good shape of how you want to do them, you kind of want to do like kind of like a shape that I'm doing right now. Because it'll make it so much easier to build out how you want to make the thighs and the hips. And also the calves, of course. And that's about it. But of course this video is 18 minutes long, so of course that's not it. Now I'm going to build out the hips with more of a curve. As you can see now. And if you guys ask me how I'm seeing this, I do not know. I've just been doing this for a very long time. And after that, then you draw the inner thigh. Basically on how I do it is what I've heard from one of my friends is that, well, one of my female friends, is that the thicker the thighs, the less of a gap that you're able to see, apparently. So, yeah. It's good to have friends of different types of genders because they can tell you things while you're drawing. Yeah. Well, I'm currently just building out the face still. I'm currently building out the face so you can still get that little roundish type face. But then, do the eyeballs. Basically on how I like to do eyeballs, honestly I should have built it out so you guys can understand, but that'll be saved for another day. Just like, don't worry about this part. Unless you're already good at doing eyes, then go ahead. Do as you please. What I also like to do with, like, especially when it comes to the noses, I just do a little line when it's a frontal view. When it's a frontal view, it's very easy for me to, just draw a line. But when it comes to different angles, that's where it gets harder to actually draw. Basically, everything is the exact same, so I'm just gonna let you just watch as I draw, while I just say absolutely nothing. And not really my favorite part, but one of the most difficult parts, and it's drawing the chest, of course. instead of doing it like big, you gotta really put in perspective of weight. So it'll be more like, think of 2 water balloons, on how like when you're holding up it, the water weighs it down. The fuller the water balloon, the less like dip you'll get. So just always think of a water balloon when you're drawing them, of course. And now I'm back. After once I've done build out everything, now we erase. Get rid of all the harsh lines so we can make them better than before, of course. Because I am the one who's drawing. I am the one in control. You gotta erase a little bit more of that. That is, you can still see a lot of black on that. There you go. Me. Good job. High five me. Yes, I clapped. Shut up. Anyways. And now we get to actually drawing the character. Because of course this is all in 3 to 4 stages. Building some more details, erase, lines. That's just about it. But I'm gonna draw this character in clothes that I personally enjoy drawing, which are like a sweater and sweatpants, because I love sweatpants. Like, generally in most of my clothes it's only sweatpants and like a shirt. I hate shorts so much. Anyways, we're not going to talk about me, we're going to talk about the drawing. And now we do the main part, The moment that we all been waiting for. This. So when you're drawing this area, you don't have to directly follow how like the round edge is. You could just like end it off there. Just, keep it there. But also, it's not going to connect fully, so you can get the full roundness. So just put like extra little lines there, so it can tell like it's kind of stretched in a way. You know what I mean? Of course you do. So just don't worry about like going fully. Just draw the curve and then leave it halfway and then draw lines, 2 lines. And there you go. I don't really oftentimes draw details, but when I do, it's some pretty good details. So just as like right now what I'm finna do soon once I get to it. Because what I'm going to do with the sweater, I'm going to give it that little like line thing that most like sweater has when it's like, I don't want to explain it, but you can already see there. I give the little sleeves and then the little neck part that little thing. Then I draw that for the others, which would probably be difficult if you like don't know like how to 3D-ish it, which would really help you in a sense of this, because this is quite difficult to do when you're a beginner and not knowing how to detail, because small brains. But hey, you guys got this. There you go. This is my OC. And now you guys have a nice day.